Good evening, everyone. This is Mellissa Thomas with Florida National News coming to you with your evening news rundown for Wednesday, April 29th, 2020. Thank you so much for tuning in. And for those of you who tuned in to our special interview earlier at 1 p.m., we appreciate you guys as well. So, of course, jumping right into our COVID-19 updates for the day. As always, we like to give you guys the latest reports from the World Health Organization. So as we're beginning to notice some lower increases now with the numbers. So they'll start to sound very similar as we tend to round our numbers off. So we're still at approximately 2.95 million confirmed cases total with the World Health Organization. So basically an increase of about 76,000 confirmed cases between yesterday and today. We are still at roughly 202,000 plus confirmed deaths, an increase of approximately 4,000 confirmed deaths over the last 24 hours. In the state of Florida, we're looking at approximately 961,000 confirmed cases here in Florida, or excuse me, in the United States. So 961,000 confirmed cases in the United States, which is a rough increase of just over 29,000 confirmed cases overnight over the last 24 hours, roughly 49,000 plus deaths in the United States, a deviation of roughly 2,000 over the last 24 hours. Here in the state of Florida, we are at 33,000 plus confirmed cases and over 1,200 deaths here in the state of Florida, according to the Florida Department of Health. Now, jumping into the main world story that is connected to COVID-19, you'll likely notice that the country of Belgium has had a higher rate of deaths reported compared to most of its European counterparts. And that is because of how they're reporting their deaths. Now, unlike several other countries, what Belgium is doing to count the deaths, they're not only counting those that are directly due to COVID-19, they're also counting deaths that are suspected, folks who are suspected of having COVID-19, folks who were in contact with someone who was a confirmed case, and someone who, others who were kind of a distant association with someone who was a positive case. Essentially, Belgium took the contact tracing concept very literally in their numbers. If you had COVID-19 or you dealt with someone who did and you unfortunately passed away, they included that in their numbers compared to the other European nations. Now, the top 6 European countries include Belgium, Spain, Italy, France, the UK, and the Netherlands. And the US is right behind those nations at number 7. Now, jumping over to US news really quickly with regards to COVID-19, there's a bit of a positive for us here in the United States. Gilead Sciences is actually reporting some positive results after their clinical trials with the remdesivir drug that was used as an antiviral in the test against COVID-19. Dr. Fauci was reporting that they saw some good results. There were some 397 patients in this clinical study, and 50% of them recovered in saw improvement rather, in as little as 5 days. So that's a bit of a positive on the journey to a vaccine for COVID-19 here in the United States. Now, jumping into Florida news, as you were likely watching, as we were, Governor Ron DeSantis just wrapped up his press conference, basically unveiling the reopening steps for the state of Florida. And in phase 1, what the governor was talking about was for essential businesses, they would still continue to do what they're doing. The essential businesses would remain. What would begin to change is that restaurants can now stagger. They can begin to open. They can have outdoors service. Folks can sit outdoors and eat. They have to observe social distancing, so they have to sit 6 feet apart. If they're going indoor to eat, the restaurants are allowed to hold only 25% capacity. Now, for the theme parks, you'll hear a little bit about this as well, but we heard that the theme parks, they will have to observe social distancing as well as they begin to reopen in phase 1. They're required to wipe down all surfaces at random. They'll have to test their staff. The staff is required to wear masks. And so when you start to return to Disney or Universal or any kind of attraction, be sure to expect that and bring your mask with you. They will require that and expect that of you. And touchless sanitizing stations will be at the gates and at the rides themselves. So that is a quick update on the reopening of the theme parks. Some of the other information that Governor DeSantis shared is that retail companies are also going to be at a 25% capacity for those coming indoors. He decided to maintain the curbside service for hair salons and other such services that are not necessarily essential, but he didn't mandate for them to close. But he mentioned he would maintain those services to be curbside only. And with regards to the gyms, he said he will look into what other states are doing before he decides to go ahead and make a definitive step in reopening the gyms. He feels that gyms are important, but he wants to take a look at what other states are doing first. So that is a quick update in terms of how Florida is planning to reopen. This, of course, comes on the heels of his meeting with President Trump in Washington, D.C. yesterday. Now, jumping over to business updates very quickly, the stock market made a huge rally today, and a historic one at that. So stocks jumped not only on the Dow Jones Industrial Index, but NASDAQ and the S&P 500 as well. So the Dow jumped 600 points, the S&P 500 jumped 2.5%, and NASDAQ 3.5%. What makes this historic is that the S&P for the month of April has seen a 14% spike, which is the largest 1 month gain that index has had since 1974. And the Dow Jones had a 12.8% jump for the month of April, which is set to be the largest 1 month gain for that index since 1987. So everyone is pretty much hopeful and excited after the announcement from Gilead Sciences about the good news with the remdesivir drug. And anyone who follows the stock market, they usually follow the current events, what's going on in the business world. We, of course, saw a spike earlier this week in the stock market once businesses slowly began to reopen and more PPP funding was pushed out into the economy. Now, a quick sports update for you. We're going to switch things up just a little bit. Dr. Fauci might be pouring some cold water on the sports here. What he's saying is that the 2020 season sports may not start. Like he's saying, based on the current trajectory of things, if the pandemic continues the way it is, he as a health officer, someone who is a health official, cannot in good conscience recommend that the 2020 seasons for any sport continue or launch. However, what he did say was, based on the results that they'll continue to see with increased testing across the United States, he might have some updates for us. And now jumping over to our entertainment. Now, just if you tuned into our interview with Nicole Mcleod earlier today, that was a very colorful interview. But one of the biggest takeaways that we wanted to share with you guys was Lily's take on President Donald Trump. She had some very acute words for the president, not only with regards to her praise of him, she is a supporter of him, but she also had some words of admonition for him of how he should respond during this COVID-19 pandemic and how he should project himself as a leader to the world, spiritually speaking. So here's a quick clip of what she said today.
Well, he needs to hire me to sing for him, that's for sure. I love him. I know a lot of people are against him and they think he's so uneducated, but he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. He's a real deal. I mean, strip it away, nothing fake about this guy. I think a lot of times when they're showing certain clips that he say, you know how you pick and clip and cut and piece together what you want. So they're not exactly hearing the whole story. And then a lot of people aren't even doing their homework to know what he's accomplished to this point in reference to what other presidents have accomplished in the time frame that he's been in there. He's broke a couple of world records in that. But I would say to him to, you know, I know that he's talked about world prayer, you know, the whole world going on, you know, we're going to all pray together. But in my opinion, when he gets on those conferences for 2 hours, he need to have 2 hours talking about Jesus and what this country was founded on and what it was built on. And I think that's where he's going wrong, that he needs to really, really put a firm hand down to the world that we need prayer. in order to conquer anything or to cure anything, especially the coronavirus. They're doing all of these different. We're going to have a vaccine for it and all of this stuff. And I'm thinking the vaccine is Jesus. Why don't y'all try to pray? How about that? You know, if we collectively got together and called on the mighty name of Jesus, he could end everything in a second. And the president, he's got a grip. He knows something. I could hear it in some of the things that he says, but he's just not saying enough. So if I could talk to him, I would tell him, you need to just say enough. We need a men who are fearless to get out there and just be fearless for God, because all the power is God has all the power.
Now, that's just one snippet of a very riveting interview that we had this afternoon. Of course, Nicole Mcleod is a X Factor diva. She was a contestant on Fox's X Factor several years ago and is currently in Slovakia. So one of the other things that we discussed was the fact that she is currently over there during the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic and the fact that she has not been able to come home as a result of the lockdown. So let's hear what she had to say about her experience over there during the lockdown and what that nation has been doing to practice social distancing and keep themselves safe.
It's been about 2 months now where you couldn't fly in or out. It's just been, it's horrible around the world. You know what I mean? And I mean, it affects your business. I can't work. You can't, where's the money? I need some money, you know, to come in. So it's just kind of affecting everything. But the good part about it is that I'm a little bit more, you have all this free time, so you're able to focus. Like I was talking about the new movie that I'm preparing for. It's a lot of script and it's a lot to learn. So I'm really focused in that. But it's been just absolutely terrifying. Here it's a little better because people are really listening to the protocol. Wear your mask, wear gargoyles, or I never can say that word right, but
goggles or
gargles. Wear your glasses or shades and the mask and gloves or whatever you have to do. Prep, correctly before you go into these stores or I wash everything. I bring things home. If it's bacon in a plastic bag or a cheese, I'll spray it with alcohol and wipe it. And if it's vegetables or whatever, I'm washing everything. So protocol is important. It affects your health care here. You don't want to go into the hospitals because you seem like people are getting sicker going in, than they are to take care of themselves at home. But here we only had maybe 1,200 in all of the entire country, and maybe 200 and something here in the city of Košice, and only maybe 2 people who died. We've had 3 new cases in all of Slovakia recently. So people are listening here, but what is going on around the world? When I see these people still at the beaches, and I'm all for opening up businesses, because what are you going to do? We've got other things that have happened that more people have died from the coronavirus. But can we make mandatory about the mask?
And she begged a good question there. And just a quick side note about the masks, Governor Ron DeSantis did mention during his press conference that is something that Floridians will be required to do. Just a quick reiteration of that for those who might be going out and continuing to do their shopping for the essential businesses. He said he wouldn't mandate, he wouldn't make it something that is a punishable offense, but he does require it as a resident, that if you're going out and about, you make sure to wear one to slow and stop the spread of COVID-19. Now, to wrap up the Lily segment here, one of the things she also mentioned that has compounded her journey so far over there in Slovakia is that she is also, while facing the COVID-19 pandemic and remaining on lockdown, she has also been battling cancer. So if you listen to this snippet very quickly as she talks about her journey with that.
I have had cancer 3 times now, breast cancer. Wow. 3 times now. So my 3rd time I was diagnosed about close to a year ago, and I had my surgery maybe about 3 months ago. And it was just before the epidemic really broke out. God is so good. I got in there had my surgery and I got out of there, and shortly thereafter, all of this started happening. But mentally, it's been a pressure because, again, trying to get in those hospitals and come out safe, it's kind of scary, But I just walk in prayer and I live in prayer. And people say, "How can you pray and how can you believe in God? You had cancer 3 times. If He was God, why are you going through all this?" But I've learned not to ask why, And the better woman comes out every time I go through whatever battle it is. And so the first time I was scared out of my mind, the second time I was shocked out of my mind, and the third time I was even more shocked that I got it again. But the fear wasn't there the second time, and the fear wasn't there the third time, because I know He's gonna see us through everything. He says, though you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. Walk through. The key word is walking through. So I love Him, and I know He's going to bring me through it, and I'm going to be a better person because of it.
Now, if you guys want to watch the rest of the interview that we had here with Nicole Mcleod, be sure to check out the interview on our Facebook page. And if you are on YouTube, you can go ahead and check it out on our YouTube channel as well. Be sure to subscribe and click that little bell while you're at it over there. One more quick entertainment update, though, and this one is a rather sharp one, business-wise, but AMC Theaters has essentially banned all Universal films from their movie theaters. Now, this was something that came as a result of the recent release of Trolls World Tour. This is a film that was released by Universal, and Universal Chairman Donna Langley decided that Trolls was doing so well, it passed the movie theaters when they streamed directly. They decided to stream, put the movie directly to stream. And she saw such a success that they decided that they want to do that for their future releases. They'll be doing theatrical and streaming releases simultaneously. This was something that AMC CEO Adam Aron did not agree with. So as a result, he chose to make the decision to ban all Universal movies from AMC theaters. So if you're an AMC fan, don't look forward to any Fast and Furious movies playing in those theaters anytime soon, or any other Universal Studios film playing in those theaters. Stay tuned right here, FloridaNationalNews.com, as we continue to keep tabs on that situation. Now, for a quick programming note where entertainment is concerned, today's interview with Lily Mcleod was a special one. However, the regular Friday one with Jenny Rosario de Casiano, our lovely hostess, will continue. So this Friday, she will be interviewing stunt actress Jacqueline Schmidt. So she will be able to let us in on the world of stunt performers, the world of acting, and give us her take on her amazing journey in the film industry. So stay tuned right here at Florida National News as we continue to bring you the evening news rundown here. And for tonight, be sure to stick with the page because our lovely Casey Hudson will be doing a special episode. This one is a slightly different time. It'll come on at 8:30 tonight, but she will be coming with her sports take. So be sure to stick around and get your sports dose for the day. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. It is an honor for us to do our show for you guys. And thank you for any feedback that you leave. We welcome your comments in the comments below. And if you have any story ideas for us to include in our rundowns, by all means, leave that comment below and let us know. For now, have a great rest of your evening. Take care.